Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and I'm finally off of work, which means that I have just a smidgen of energy left to record the first showcase of the new 1.5 ANNI units, and this time I decided that the Masked Hero will start us off, actually not round us off, but start us off with the showcases. So, our second ever iteration of the Masked Hero, and on paper, she doesn't seem to be quite as good as the previous hero. We don't have a rewind skill. We have another kind of gimmicky thing. And then we have another skill that will assist people in doing damage. The first hero had crit and resistance down. And this hero has element resistance down and orb damage up. So in combination with, a couple other buffs, that skill could go off. But we'll have to see, because honestly, this is the first time using her since I pulled her last night in last night's stream. So I literally just got home and ate, and now I'm sitting down to record this. So I have used her not a lot. But let's go over her very, very quick. So physical, light, obviously uses a normal sword. I know I mentioned this already, but this hero cannot use the same sword for the old hero, because the old hero, it's specific to the Masked Hero, the Time Traveler, and this is the Masked Hero, Sacred Future. So you can give her the sword, sure, but it's not going to give you that boosted stats. So just keep that in mind. AoE 300% with the EX increases physical attack by 5%. Like I said, the first skill increases orb damage and lowers resistance, and then the second skill is the gimmicky thing where you can change one alt orb into a green to make preferably a full 6 cent of greens that are buffed by whatever. So in that instance, you can try and push for an EX alt for a character that you otherwise maybe would not have been able to because you only had 5 greens to send. So we'll see how well that works in practice. Her Valor trait is pretty ass. I don't even want to cover it. Her actual trait is decent. 6 combo of greens increases her crit damage by 10% for the next turn. You could, slap this on another unit that needs crit that also focuses on greens, and, they'll do extra crit damage, so it looks good. And then her EX board is activated by Rimuru, gives herself extra crit damage, and is a team buffer on her EX board for physical characters. So let's get started in the first event. Alright, so this is the first team we're going to use. We're going to use almost the full fantasy team with Isis on Inferno 3 of the current beatdown battle. So we'll just use the hero, and we'll see how well she can do alongside all of her damage. That's going to be, crit buffed and green damage buffed from these two. Maybe with a Pierce going on. So let's see the damage output we can do, and also see if we can take advantage of her alt. Is it a delay? I think it's a swap, I guess. The alt orb swap. I haven't really landed on a proper title for it, but it's what we're going to call it for now until I do something else. So the first hand is obviously set, so that makes it pretty easy to at least start the fight. This is Inferno 3, which means that, you take one wrong counterattack, things can go south for you real quick. So let's go ahead and bring Milim in for Isis, and then we can use the orb changes here. So that's 25% damage on the greens that are not really buffed by anything else right now. Let's compare a damage buff between 100 Rimuru and a 104 hero. Obviously she's going to have higher stats, but let's see how much more damage she does on her normals. 66, 79. Okay, that's quite a bit more. Rimuru is a defensive focused unit, so he doesn't have the highest attack stat in the world. Oh. Well, ain't that something? Yeah, sure, okay, well, we can definitely work with that. So, okay, so let's use Rimuru's skill right here. That'll give us 50% alt gauge on greens. Not that we have too many greens right here, but let's then go ahead and bring Isis in for Rimuru, since he's low on health. Let's use the green buff here, and then let's use her orb change just for a skill, right? And then we'll bring Alice in, right? No, we'll leave Alice out of here, actually. And then, do we use... I think we use Frey. Like, why wouldn't we use Frey, huh? Yeah. But do I need to use anything else, though? Should I use anything else? Let's do this. Alright, so... let's see if we can get a comparison. A full hand of Milim versus a full hand of, you know, Milim with the buffs. With the hero buff going on. So... 16,000 plus a... Okay. Okay. Do it again, I dare you. Do it again. Well, it's a good thing that she's got her double ult now, because she can't stay up here any longer. Okay, well, we have an EX ult. So, what we could do is we could yoink that, or swap it with Shizu. So let's go ahead and do that now. And so that's another skill, that's another stack for Milim's, you know, crit damage buffs. So that's good. So we'll use that. I think we'll also use the actual damage buff and resistance down. I think we'll use that now. Alright, so that swaps Milim's orb for a green orb now. So it does keep the orb of the ult for that character. It just turns it into their green. It's not a random green orb that comes in. It is specifically if someone has an ult and you use that swap, it becomes just a normal green orb for that same character. Which is good to know, because it ensures that you at least have one orb for the character. Then let's go ahead and bring in Rimuru again. Yeah, bring in Rimuru. Let's use his orb change. That way we can use Frey in a perfect hand. And then we'll bring Alice in since Rimuru's kind of low. And we'll use her orb change just because it's another skill. And we're going to get a whole bunch of... skill points back. So now we were doing about 16k per Milim orb on the first hand. So let's compare that now with the extra damage buff plus the resistance down and see how much higher that goes. So 19,000 for Alice, that's pretty good. 28,000 damage right there. That is not an insignificant amount. Please don't die. Okay, good. That is not an insignificant amount. So, it's only for one turn. So the orb buff is gone. The resistances are gone. We do have 100 points in a fray. So, fairly certain we can kill here. Turn 4. So let's use the orb buff again. That way we do extra damage on our normals. Let's use the pierce buff. Actually, let's not, because we don't have enough points for that. No, actually, let's do that. And then we'll use Frey. That's 40 points right there, and that'll make sure that we have enough to use Milim's actual crit damage buff. So now, let's see how much damage she does on this orb, because it's going to be quite a bit higher. We're at 58% crit damage, alongside the orb buff, alongside the resistance down. So let's see how much this one Milim orb does. We'll even send it first. So we did 16, which turned into 28,000. So now with the pierce and the crit damage, this is going to go crazy. 51,000. Almost doubled the damage of the orb. Alright, 39. Obviously would have done a lot more if it was the 200% orb, but I wanted a baseline test, not a 200% orb versus a normal orb. So her ult now does, with the extra resistance down, so her ult is still affected, 235,000 damage, which didn't actually kill. Well, that is unfortunate. But, obviously, like, it's not buffing the ult itself, it's only buffing the normal orbs. If I had done it correctly, and I had sent Milim as the last orb, we would have done, like, what, 100,000 on her orb? And, obviously, Ifrit would not have lived past that. So, we could have killed if I had played it right, but I wanted that science in here to compare damages between, you know, normal buffed orb versus a really buffed orb versus a super buffed orb. So, obviously, the hero skill does, in fact, give us quite a bit of damage buff just on normals, which means that, you know, six orb sends are looking really good right now. And then the ult is just like the icing on top. Even though that using this specific team, it didn't really hit the hardest that I would have liked it to. So, obviously I think we would swap Isis for another buffer, probably like Dark Milim for the ult buff, and then that would have really ramped it up there. But I think this is a decent showing as far as her being a support unit for her orb buff. So let's try it again, and try it with the orb swap now. No, actually, we did the orb swap, so we didn't really need that either. You know what? Let's go somewhere else. Let's put out the hero on another team. Obviously, she works well on the fantasy team. Who would have thunk? Let's go on a light 2.0 team. Yeah, that's green focused. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, so light 2.0 time. Shizu changes to greens, gives us the pierce rate. Xion obviously is going to be the main benefitter from the orb buff. And also, like, if we could, we can also try and get the new hero's EX ult, because we can try and, you know, save her if she gets enough orbs, I guess. And then we also have the old hero, who is still timeless, with the rewind, so it gives us an extra turn to use extra skills in case we can. It's just that the old Tempered Edge stages don't have set starting hands, so it might be a bit before I get a good run. So I'm going to make a quick cut, and we'll be right back. Okay, well, I guess we can call this a good starting hand. I mean, we can pretty much almost force the EX ult for the hero at this point, so let's just go ahead and do it. So let's go ahead and swap Rimuru out, and we'll just send it. And I guess we'll compare damage between the hero and Xion, so we'll send Xion second. So 48, 61, 55. So obviously doing a bit more damage than our hero. They're both physical, they're both light. Okay, well, I mean, that... Okay, interesting. Oh, she does have the trait. Okay, that's why. She's got the increased attack, so that's why she hit a bit harder. So now we have the hero's ult, but we only have one orb for the hero, which is unfortunate. So I think we're going to hold that in the back, but I think what we can do is I think we can do... Let's not use that yet, actually. Let's not do anything quite yet, because I want to make sure that we get as much as possible. So I think we're going to swap you out for Rimuru. We're gonna put this on. So that's a skill right there. Let's do... let's see. How many points? We have 63 points. So let's do 1, 2, 3. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. Let's do that. So that gives us another full hand of greens. So the next turn, hopefully we can bring in the hero for whoever, use her ult swap, and then use the rewind as well. And then we'll see how much damage we can do. And this, you know, saved us from using our Shizu protector. So this works out pretty well. 43, 7,000. Alright. We're going to kill this Xion before we even get to that point. We're just doing too much damage. Alright, so we have bunches of ults now. So, this is turn 3. Let's use... Let's see, let's get you out of here for Shinsha. So let's use Shinsha's orb change again, just in case. And then we'll get her out for the hero. Yes. Right? No, actually, we'll get you out for the hero. And then we'll get you out for Xion. Okay, that didn't work out as well as I thought it would. But I think it should still be okay. So let's do that. Let's use Rewind, and let's use her alt swap skill. Alright, so now we have 2 orbs for her. Will that be enough with the boost and everything? I don't actually know. I don't actually know. Let's just go ahead and try it, though. Alright, and let's use the buff damage as well. For funsies, let's do this. So now we've lowered the light resistance on the Xion. We're going to buff up our damage a lot. So now let's see. It does not get her EX ult, unfortunately. That is a pretty big bummer. 14,000, 16,000 with the Pierce. We're not giving her any Pierce power. You know, that's Xion's thing. So Xion would hit quite hard if we had this active while she was up here. But here's the EX ult for the hero, so that's good. So let's do this. And then we can just wait. I don't know when her defense goes away. But we can get a generalized test. Alright, there's a heal. How long is her defense up for? It is forever. Okay, well, it doesn't matter then. So, what shall we do? Let's bring in... Let's get the crit going, I guess. Let's do that. Actually, let's get Rimuru out here. We don't need that. Let's get you in here for Rimuru, who doesn't have any orbs, so that was a mistake. Oh well, whatever. I mean, do we kill here? Shinsha has an ult. Shinsha has an ult. Yeah, let's do this. It doesn't matter because she's not here anyway, so what a waste. Alright. So, the EX ult with the crit, with the pierce, with a 15% light buff. How much damage will we do? With the EX ult. This will be our first time seeing this today, so we won't skip it. It's a very flashy... No, this is not the flashy ult. This is the very basic ult. Kind of unfortunate, actually. How much do we do? With that extra defense and everything, 93k on an AoE. I mean, Xion would have done like 120 on her single target. So, I mean, it's not terrible damage. Alright, there's a double heal right there. But now we have many, many ults. So, let's do the orb buff again. Lower her resistance. Let's bring Xion in now for the hero, and then we can use her attack buff with Pierce. And then, how much does her normal orb do here? We don't have the crit from the hero, but how much will she do just normally? Uh, 26k? 82k with the ult. With no crit, so we did more with the AoE than we did with Xion's single target ult. And we had the resistance down? Yeah. Okay, so I mean, yeah, EX ults. Very powerful. 600% damage is, still 600% damage. Xion has like, what, 4, 5, something like that? So, alright, that worked, essentially, kind of. Let's try another green focus team. Okay, I think for the last part of at least this showcase for the hero, we're going to put her on the Dark 2.0 team. Another green focus team where, I mean, holding an ult, swapping it out, could be beneficial because it'll give us more Veldora, it'll give us more points. So, I mean, this could work. We're not really pushing for a hero ult here. We're pushing for a Milim ult more than anything. But, I want to see how much damage our normal orbs can do with the dark buff, with the crit and crit damage, with the magic buff, and now with the elemental resistance down and the 50% damage buff alongside Milim's 15% attack buff. Things could get pretty interesting right here. So, and we do have set starting hands now, so we can just jump right in. If we can get the run. So we have 8 turns to set this up. So, I mean, as long as we don't get shafted with orange orbs, I think we can do this. I think this will work pretty well. And wow, I look very orange. Is there a way to change that? I mean, that works, I guess. Now I'm bleached out. Alright. So, set starting hand is for Isis, I believe. Yes. So let's do this. There's that. And then we're not worried more so about the hero now, so let's bring Shinsha in here for you. So we got our 3 single targets up here. My neighbors have humongous, gigantic elephant footsteps, so if you can hear them in the background, I'm sorry. 5,500 damage. Okay. So 5,500 damage is our baseline before we put any other buffs on. That's a good hand right there. Okay. That is a good hand. We only have 1 Millim Orb, but whatever. So let's use the green buff, her orb change, this for the crit resistance down, and then we'll use Veldora and reset the cost of everything, and then use Isis's orb change again. So we can skip this. Alright, and then orb change. So we'll do pop, 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 pop. That probably gets Isis's ult. Yeah, it does. Alright, well, we can get rid of that, because we're not saving that ult. We're not doing a comparison with her. So we need a Millim ult, and we also need to wait another 6 turns, so it's gonna be a minute. Or we could just get a Shinsha ult. Or we can just get it anyways, because we have... Okay, well, let's do this then. So let's use another of that. Let's use another of the green buff, just for extra skills used. Do we use that? No, I don't think we do. Let's get Rimuru in here for Millim, so we can bring her in for whoever has the most orbs next time. Let's reset those. So I mean, technically with Veldora, we could reset the hero's ult swap back down to 0. I mean, technically we could, right? There's nothing saying we can't. But this will get us quite a bit right here. Doesn't quite get us another Veldora, but we've already reset all of the orbs that we need to, or all the skills we need to. So 25,000, cool, pop, 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 pop. God, Jesus Christ, they're loud. Okay, so we can bring her in for Rimuru now. That'll work out. Except we have orange orbs, which doesn't really work out. Do we just do that? I think we just do that. Hopefully we don't get any more oranges. No more oranges, no oranges. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to bring you in for Shinsha now. And good, we missed the attack seal. Perfect. So, let's use that. Let's use this again. Let's use the green buff. And then we'll bring Millim in for Shinsha. That will get her ult. Perfect. That'll get us another Veldora next turn as well. Technically, we could yoink the ult, so we don't have to take that right now, which, you know what? I might actually do, because I don't want to deal with it. Okay, so pop, 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 pop. So 190 points. So what do we need? We need 190, actually, to use the dark buff, alt buff, crit buff. So we need to get one more stack to use everything else. So what can we do here? We can get Rimuru out. That'll pull in another blue. So let's do that. So we'll do Rimuru is out of here now. He can't really contribute anything else. So now let's go ahead and use the alt swap to get rid of Millim's ult into a green, which then we can use the orb changes again to get another full hand of greens, and then we still have one more turn to do whatever we want with. But I think we're almost capped out. We are capped out. So let's see how much damage our orbs do on this turn, actually. Right? Yes, because we'll definitely have enough points. So let's swap that orb out. So let's watch that, make sure it works. There we go. And then we can use Veldora, reset the skill costs of all the orb changes. And then... oh, we got Pierce Power? Oh, I took Raphael off. That's why. Okay. And the greens are still buffed, right? With the 50%? Yeah, for 2 more turns. Alright, so that works out. So now we have another full hand of greens. That'll give us, and you know, if Millim had an EX ult, it would. But 95 points, another Veldora. So now we're at 235. So now we can use all of the buffs on turn 8 when his defense goes away. And we can look real Man, I really hope I get this orb luck with Jubilee when I start doing it this weekend. Okay, well, we can, I guess, do it again because it reset the cost. So, hey, look, another full hand of greens. So, I mean, that worked. That definitely worked out. Let's use Veldora again. I don't really need to, though. We don't need the points, right? So 55, 55, 80, so that's 110, plus that's 190, plus the 25. So, we don't need to use it. We can just hold on to it. Plus, I don't want to kill Veldora, or Gazel here. So this will get an Ice Assault as well. 1-1, 1-1-1-1. Maybe I should have used it. 559. Okay. Here we go. Alright, so now we are ready. We have 1 Milim Orb, so we can at least test it a little bit. So let's use the damage up and the attribute resistance down. So we're going to lower his dark resistance and alongside everything else. Let's use the alt buff. We can get the hero out of here now. For Shinsha. Yes, for Shinsha. And then we'll use the dark buff. Ooh, how much is this Milim Orb gonna do? And then we'll use the crit buff. Okay. So let's verify what Milim has going on right now. So Milim has the trait for 6% attack, her own 15% attack, dark attack plus 70% from Shinsha, guaranteed crits, 40% crit damage, 70 magic attack. Pierce Charm doesn't really matter. We have the alt damage for 70%. We have the crit resistance down for 15, and then the 50% dark resistance down. Okay. Which I think this is Shinsha's buff lowering by 10%, which is obviously outclassed by the 50. So, oh, that's unfortunate that this is a blue. So what is this, 80%? So, I mean, we'll have to do, you can just imagine what this orb would normally do, and then we'll send this. So, her orb does 39k, so add another 80% to that. And then Milim on her alt. We'll watch this. God, what are you going to do? 400k? 413. Okay, yeah, pretty close to what I thought. I mean, that's good. Obviously, if you had, like, Raphael or Dark Valentine, like, you would have probably hit harder on the alt. And obviously that was not a good example of using the orb damage to its fullest capacity, because we only had one normal orb and it was nerfed. But, I mean, she can still work. Like, she can still be a decent support unit if you strategically use her 2 skills in certain scenarios. Obviously she's focused for a green team. Thankfully, there is no shortage of green-focused teams in this game, and I don't think there ever will be until they introduce some kind of new orb. God knows. But her orb damage is significant if you can find a good way to work it in here and there. Like, we could have used that skill throughout this entire fight with the extra magic damage, and we could have compared it, and it would have been reset, so it's like we could have done that. In fact, maybe I will do that. Hold on. Maybe I'm misplaying this entire thing. Alright, so here's a good starting point, turn 2 on the next run, and we get, a very good hand here. So we can green buff right here, we can do the crit resistance down later on, extra skill points, and then what we can do is we can take Shinsha out of here for the hero, and then we can use her or buff, and then we will use Veldora, who's, only got a few stacks, 30%, but we can then reset the orb change with Isis, give us a full 6 hand of greens, and then we can see, what kind of damage we do now. Because, first turn we do about, 5,000-6,000 damage on an orb for Milim. So let's see how much higher that goes. Okay, counterattack, why not? 12,000, and that's with the 30% extra magic buff and then the extra damage buff. So I mean that was a good chunk of his HP right there. That was not terrible. So now let's come back when we have like everything going, and we can try and send a full 6 of Milim or something with full buffs on turn 8. You have no idea how long it's taken me to get this hand, where I would have enough points to orb change into a full green while being able to fully buff everything. It's taken quite a bit of time, so hopefully you're still watching at this point. So we have Milim with the 50% damage increase on the greens. We've got the resistances down. We have technically her ult, but we swapped it out. So we have on her, we have 6% trait, guaranteed crit damage, dark attack, her attack, magic attack, and then the resistance is down. So we will see how much damage we do with these orbs. So I think, how much health does he have left? He has 63k, so I think we can send these first. I don't think we'll kill. Actually, Rimuru might kill, so you know what? Let's just send Milim first. Let's just see how much these orbs would do without the 200%. Oh, okay, they do 74,000. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. A normal orb, so, a 200% orb would have done 150k. I mean, that's pretty good. I'd call that pretty good. It took forever to get that one orb, that one attack, but hey, science is worth it, right? So, yeah, the hero, my opinion of the hero has increased since my Should You Summon video yesterday. Do I still think she's as good as the old hero? No. Will she help teams out with their damage? Yes. Situationally, but it's still, she's generalized enough where you could make use of her on different places. We went on a green-focused team here. I'll come back with another showcase of her, running her on, like, not green-focused teams, like Fount of Wisdom and that, and see how much damage we can do with all, with EX Hinata's orbs when they're fully buffed up. That'll be something, but that'll be a different video. For now, I think this is a good showing for her. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But that's it for me. Take it easy, and I'm going to go the fuck to bed. Goodbye.